So we start off by introducing the main character, who's also the storyteller. The article says Christopher Boone is a 15-year-old boy with an autism spectrum disorder. So this is quite key to understanding the character and the story. An autism spectrum disorder is one of a number of brain disorders that all involve problems with socializing and communicating with other people, and it tends to give people a lot of repeated behaviors. Now we call it a spectrum because these problems go on like a spectrum. They could be very mild and just people have a few funny little behavior things, or they could be very serious and it stops people from interacting with others and they have learning difficulties. So it could be anywhere along this line. So our character is kind of somewhere in this spectrum of sort of social disorders.
Now let's take a look. It says he struggles with social interactions. So again, we talk about this social thing. It means that he doesn't really have it's very difficult for him to talk to people. So he struggles with social interactions and sees the world in a very literal way. Now when you struggle with something, it just means you have a really hard time with something. Maybe this experience or thing is very hard for you to handle. So for example, math is kind of hard for me sometimes.
Fair enough.
So I struggle with math sometimes. That means I have difficulties dealing with math if it's too complicated.
Okay, and here what Christopher struggles with is social interaction. Interaction is where two or more things are communicating or are otherwise involved in a kind of back and forth process. It's not just one person talking and one listening, it's both talking. So for an example sentence, we could say, it's important for young children to have social interaction with other kids their age.
And so Christopher, he sees, because he has autism, he sees things in a very literal way. When something is literal, it just means that it's exactly like that, or it's completely true or correct. Basically, you see things as black and white, and basically whatever you see is whatever you think it is. Because, you know, sometimes when you talk to people, maybe they say something, but that's not what they really mean. But then Christopher thinks, oh no, that's exactly
what they mean. And it's hard for him to understand like idioms as well.
Right.
Like if you said, I'm going out to paint the town red, then most people, English speakers, will understand that means you're going out for a party and having fun. He would really think you're going out and painting the town red, all of it. So he'd be like, oh my goodness, what will happen? How will the town look when it's red? So he doesn't really understand that kind of language when it's being used. So we see that in the article. Christopher has been living in Swindon in the UK with his dad Ed since his mom Judy died 2 years ago. I actually lived in Swindon for about 5 months.
How was it?
Not the best place.
Not
Apologies to Swindon, but you can do better.
They could do better. All right, so next it says, his life begins to go off the rails when he discovers the body of his neighbor's dog. Ooh, that's kind of scary to see. I don't think I could see any kind of dead thing. So his life starts to go off the rails. Now, go off the rails is our shortcut for you, so let's take a quick break to learn more about what it means.